Hey Gaga, nice to see you. Hope you're having a nice evening. And yeah, I'm here now. I just usually, when I go live, the first thing I throw in an ad, because then you guys don't have to watch ads that much. So I usually take like 5 minutes or something after I get online till I'm really settled. And I've been trying around yesterday after stream before I had to bed shortly to get this area a bit more in shape. And I do think we're slowly getting there. Like, I'm not perfectly happy yet, but having a look at this, I think we're slowly getting towards a look that we're actually quite happy with. In this area, I already put some proper vegetation, and I think that obviously does a lot. All of this does not really have any prop work or anything yet, but I tried around with some small things yet. So this site is slowly taking shape, and I did update your mod this time before I load it in. So maybe we can start having a bit of a look at the site here as well. Though I do want this site to stay somewhat natural.
Some Latinos up here.
Well, welcome in, Elgano, and I like you're using your own sound. And very much appreciated. Yeah, but what I did off stream, which obviously is not really optimal yet, we're gonna have to fix up this a little. But this is where I want an open quarry to actually be happening in. And we can actually already have a real quick look at something that Elgando made for us. Is right here ready. Because I do think this will probably be a very good fit for this area. The only thing I'm not sure about how we get to blend this properly. I mean, the texture itself looks amazing. The only thing I'm actually not sure is how I'm probably gonna blend this. But I guess if we work around it with rocks, then this should be a really good fit. I don't know, just spitballing here real quick to get some idea for style we could use. But if we cover up the bottom and the top slightly, then this is gonna be real nice. I do think it's probably a tad too vibrant looking at it in-game. Like, it does look very nice, but I do think the orange is quite more orangey than the net lane we'll use around it. But just to have some early look at this. Yeah, the maps itself look great. I agree as well. But we should... I'm gonna move around the camera a little. But yeah, Elgando said he might have map problems, and honestly, I don't think so. I think that looks very flawless. The only thing I'm not sure about... Really? Why do they like look worse in your map? For me, this looks really nice. I mean, I have to admit, since a while, I'm actually not using my appropriate map theme. Because this reset sometime when I crashed. And I had a variation out of multiple ones, and I adjusted all of these settings. I have them somewhere in my Discord. So I should reapply that again. But yeah, this looks great. Especially if we'd go in here and actually colorize the rock itself a bit as well. Something like this, maybe. Actually, it's so orange. But look, something like this actually would look amazing. Honestly, that looks so good already. Even just with this little recoloring. Because my only worries with this, because the texture itself again looks perfect. My only worries would be the fading. But then since it's so steep here, and I would probably only use this on the actual cliffs, it's not really an issue, because we can just prop it up with rocks. Yeah, I know, this obviously not your final version, but just to have a quick look at it together in-game, I think this is a nice first impression, and honestly, I think it looks very nice already. Like, won't need much changes, I believe. And the other question you had, we can have a real quick look as well, because you were asking about this garage door here, right? Yes, the ground earth is how it's called. I just knew that it's one of the signature buildings. It's a bit hard to notice it's that, because clearly, as you guys can see when I hover over it, I'm hiding most of the building inside of the mountain. Just keeping the part that I find especially interesting. So it's not optimal, but this would be really good. Yeah, I was also thinking that maybe, but I guess, well, maybe if I rotate them, actually we can check that together. Because if we use one of these, whoops, one of these, obviously I'd have to turn it from the top to the bottom, but actually this should probably work if we do the bottom first, cleanly, like this. That has a very, very slightly noticeable gap, but barely. Well, I guess here I'm gonna have to use EDT to move this properly in position, but I'm gonna click it down there. Oh no, why did it have to rotate the position? I think I've messed this up through accidentally rotating. I mean, the cut, we can probably avoid the cut if I move them up correctly, where they would actually belong. It's not optimal, but yeah, sure, this would absolutely work. Seems like very slightly, actually even slighter. Turn it like this, and then very slightly move it downward. That actually looks pretty much flawless, Elgando. I don't think you need to make a bigger size for me. If you want to make bigger sizes for other people, sure, feel free to. But I mean, if we look at this, this really does look very good. No complaints, honestly, can't really see that just doubled up. Yes, it could be even more flawless. We have a very small gap here. Can I fix that? They are slightly overlapping. What if I move this one? Oh, the orientation is a bit off, so I can't just wait. I can, and then we just move it. What did I do? Okay, I messed that one up. Shouldn't it be... Oh, it's because I didn't. That's entirely upon me. I didn't center it correctly. I was so confused why that did put it in inward positions. Yeah, that's the X, and this is the... Okay. My bad. Slowly getting there. Honestly, Elgato, now I did this cleanly. There is not a single cut anymore. Yes, this... Ignore what the truck just did. He was just doing a kickflip, I guess. That was some crazy magic we've seen. But honestly, the cut I can pretty much not see anymore. I think I have to place whatever weird block we placed in there again, because there's some weird things happening here for sure. And now, actually, we have this. maybe we need to properly go in. I actually want to color or steal this rock color because I think it's very nice. Maybe we have to start trying around with the Gaga surfaces to give the cliff a nicer look. Here, I'm not entirely sure if we can keep this with the way of the rocks of me hiding the building. Maybe we need to find a more elegant solution, but I do think already bringing the rocks away from the normal gray into these beige and orange tones already does quite a lot because it's so much closer to the actual cliff texture that it does seem quite a bit less noticeable. And obviously our cliffs are also not going to stay as blank as they are right now, so at that point I do think we can hide this a bit better, probably. I guess so. I mean, it does very much seem like it. It's probably also due to me being bad at the game and not having placed it well enough, but if I can avoid taking blame and blame something else instead, then that's always welcome. I could, but then I think it looks a bit unlogical if the building just goes into the mountain like that. So my idea was trying to kind of hide it into the mountain like this. Obviously this is not clean yet. We're missing a lot of boulders all over, but I think if we decorate this entire cliffside, then we can probably get this to work. I'm not entirely sure if this is the best solution. Maybe I should go back and remove those rocks as well. I take you don't like it when you're asking that question, Helgendo? Because obviously now it looks very plain because there is no other rocks around it, but that's not how I'd want it to stay. I'd obviously go over here and like decorate more of the cliffside itself with rocks as well. Yeah, maybe you guys are onto it because it does look a bit weird. It's not like I'm fully satisfied with this solution. It was the only thing I could figure so quickly, but then is this optimal? No, it surely isn't. But I also do think if we decorate this up, that would already go a long way in making this more realistic, like just plants and some green in there as well. Wait, hold on. Before we talk so long about how this could look, if this would look a bit nicer, we're gonna just do a very quick layer of detailing on here. And maybe I can convince you guys that this solution will work. If you guys still don't like it after what I'm doing here quickly, then we are gonna delete all of this and figure a different way for it. Holy shit, we were low below ground there. Welcome in, Masa, and that is a very big compliment with how many good other creators there are. I don't even actually qualify as streamer, in my head at least. And you could be your own favorite CS2 streamer if you play cities more. I'm very unsure about this, to be honest. I do think this already does some heavy lifting and it does look a bit nicer, but am I fully happy with this? I don't think so. I need your guys' harsh input to figure if we can pull this off or not. Because even a concrete structure is a bit weird to just go into the mountain. I mean, even this building, just pure, going into the mountain, does not look bad, but I figured I can make it better than that, but then maybe I'm making it worse. I'm not entirely sure that's working. And so tedious to move these up and down correctly here. Okay, good enough for now. Maybe it's my internet? Am I lagging for anybody else? I usually restart my router before I'm streaming, and I did not do that today. So I hope it's not me. When I was watching you earlier, I did not have any lag, so not sure. I mean, that still is a good sign. Are you actually playing the game, Gaga, or are you working on your surfaces? Wow, I cannot believe it. I like it. You better post screenshots again. Because Gaga is not only somebody who makes amazing decals and surfaces, but also makes absolutely amazing builds and then never shares anything about them. So if you want to see some cool Gaga builds, he posted some screenshots in my Discord. So check it out. Well, if you're plopping another church, Gaga, you will have to join the Ploppers cult. Yeah, I'm not surprised Elgendo doesn't know what it is. One day, Elgendo. One day when you made every single decal the community can need, then maybe you can join us and also play the game a little. I hate it a bit less already. I still hate it, if I'm being honest. But it's not as bad anymore. And I mean, obviously, the mountain is still way too blank around it. We've done no work around it. But I think we can kind of pull this off. Can we not? Yeah, I guess so. If you play, I'm missing all the nice assets, so I'm not angry at you enjoying making decals and stuff. Well, before we look at all of this so long, I want to also try. Now we have the updated Gaga surfaces. To go in here and have another look at all of them. Some of these are gonna be the original ones still. But we're just gonna replace anyways. And I live so dangerous, I still never bother to update. I mean, that together already looks really nice. In here again, the trucks here all do crazy things. I guess it's Los Vagos, as with everything. They do really funky stuff here and here as well. We're gonna have to pay attention when they're coming. Gaga, you know what I fear I'm gonna ask you for? Oh, these look so good. God damn it, this is so good. Because with some of the bigger ones, I do think as nice as they look, and obviously you can't do that any different, but it's a bit weird how flat they look for their size. It's not as bad if it's fewer ones, but then these especially in this smaller size, they are perfect. Yes, of course. Again, literally stealing my wishes. Of course, I will want those more orange. These are also perfect. These we use a lot already. I guess these are an updated version. Are they? I'm not even sure. I think these are the ones we are using already. I guess I'm only looking at the old ones, and these are all the new ones. These beautiful, but not for here. These actually, Gaga, look really good as a surface. I actually tried this yesterday, and I was thinking of maybe using them here. Because if you use the fully ones, they look really nice for old city surfaces as well. I don't think it's the perfect vibe for what I want to do here, but just as a quick show of how great they look for something like this as well. Which I don't think that's what you intended to use them for, but really, even as normal surfaces, they work absolutely beautiful. These are also really good tier as a pronouncement. These again, probably great as a full tiled floor. These will also be really good. The question is, if we're using your rock surfaces, maybe that forces me to keep mainly orange in my rocks, or maybe mainly gray in my rocks to match the best. Honestly, the cliffside scares me a bit, because I don't yet know how I wanna build out these cliffs. I don't wanna build exactly the same we already have in our national park. Kinda similar vibe, a bit like this, I guess, but not exactly the same. But yeah, these are beautiful, really. I think what these also really shine on, especially the lighter ones, is just pronouncing these cliffs, because the default cliff texture is always a bit too light, and then if you just go over it, and obviously the surface I took now is not optimal for that, but one of these, I think the thinnest one, something like this, I do think looks great, because it gives a bit more depth to the mountain, so it actually feels deeper. Yeah, I agree. For things like this, props would actually be the best. I'm still mad at this rock, because I do think these rocks are beautiful, but they are so heavy performance-wise that you can't really spam them as much as I would like to spam them. So yeah, as much as I would love to, I do think your surfaces are gonna be a better solution. Honestly, one of my favorite ones I think is still this one, because it just adds some roughness to the ground. And my game is very laggy right now, not sure why. When I get these word stutters, for some reason it helps me if I zoom out and look at all of the map ones, and then I zoom back in, and usually I have a bit less stutters, which not sure why that's the case, but it definitely is. Look at this. This is actually so nice to pronounce the cliffs a bit more. And this one, I believe this is one of your old ones. These two, I absolutely still adore them. Well, no worries, Masa. You play whatever you enjoy. But I like tuning in some other games as well, though, to be honest, it's the easiest to keep me in your chat if you're playing CS2, but if I enjoy your streams, I'll tune in for other stuff as well. actually still have some leftovers here. Maybe we are gonna stray from what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to go hard and start properly detailing out this entire area. But now being at this, maybe we should actually use that time and figure how we get the cliff the best together. Because really, this one is so good. I think this one we can pretty much spam around all of the steepest areas, just to give some base grittiness in the area. Gaga probably like, oh my god, he's misusing all of my surfaces. This is not what I built them for. But I'm very sorry, I do it anyways. We're trying to learn together, because again, I don't really have an idea of what I want to do here. I do think that helps quite a bit though. And these are the riverbed ones that fit so well in the shape of these as well. I do think this is gonna be an absolute gaga spam area. Honestly, we're gonna probably have to delete some of these surfaces because I don't know exactly what I want to do here. But we're again trying to learn together. I mean, this one actually gives some really nice base grittiness. Well, how I use those, your old ones, right? I don't have many of the new ones yet. But your old ones, now I need to find an example where I actually did it. Here, for example. You see how I use them to pronounce all of the cliffs. Because I think, especially with my desert theme, sometimes it's a bit difficult to see how deep the terrain actually is, because there is a bit too little shading. But then if you go over those areas with your surfaces, I think it makes it a lot more visible how much depth there actually is in those areas. So that has been my main usage of your rocks so far, at least. And then again, here we have to figure out what we want to do together. I welcome in Clovis, and thanks so much for subbing. That's very cute of you. And 6 months already. That actually is news to me, because then I'm streaming exactly for half a year now, I guess. Which, longer than I thought. So yeah, cool to see you. And look, Clovis, we've been making a little progress, not that much, but we're working on our weird mine area in 3 parts. This side of the train is the only somewhat finished part that we're trying to finish a bit further. And then we have this side, which eventually I want to turn into some kind of quarry, but I have not really figured how I want this side to look yet. And then very later on, we will have this site, which is gonna be an abandoned old mine. And this is the pretty much untouched part yet that we need to figure out entirely. But we're working our way forward. And how is it going today, Clovis? Did you manage to fix your OBS issues, or are you still struggling with it? I mean, I also spam yours a lot, but the issue is that I'm sure people struggle with the same with my decals. Since I have not made them, like you, I don't immediately know which surface does what, so often I have to draw it out first to see. This one, for example, while pretty surface, absolutely horrible for what I want to do here. So this is definitely a replace for me, but we're gonna use the moment to actually look at different ones. This one is really pretty, but still a bit too much. In the lowest variation, I think it looks really good. Really? That's so curious. Make sure, I'm sure you're aware, Clovis, but make sure you export all of your scenes and important things you want to keep on your reinstall. This one I also really like. We're probably gonna use that to pronounce in some more areas. But I want to get a better idea again of what options we have. These are so good for us, even though they're supposedly meant as a riverbed, because they fit the colors so well. Honestly, from further away, this is perfect. I should be spamming this surface in the steeper areas. Exactly this one. Actually, we're gonna keep doing that. How will those two look on top of each other? They look beautiful on top of each other. Okay, that's a great mix. So we're gonna combine the bit rockier one and this one we're gonna make a bit wider. Actually, I'm gonna trick here and just combine all of these bigger shapes and draw around them very roughly, make them a tad bigger. And yeah, I hope you can save it. Because that is not an OBS issue I heard about before. Apparently Clovis is having issues with his OBS, saying OBS is already running, even though it's closed, and closed through Task Manager even to make sure. This is so good, Gaga. Honestly, I should be layering them more as well, just like you said. Because look at the amount of depth this adds to my cliff in the areas where we did it. And obviously the rest of the cliff is still entirely empty. We're gonna spam all of this with boulders and plants and everything as well. Because again, this site is only intended as mine, right? So this is not a hillside that is getting worked on, but it's actually a hillside that is somewhat natural, and then this hillside is the one that is actively getting worked on as some kind of quarry. So here we're gonna have to find a different style. Which one? You have to... This one I already told you, so I guess it's not that one. This is the ground earth signature building, with half of it hidden in the mountain. And these are both props from the ore industry. If you look in the static plopper builds, you have this mine entrance, and this also is a mine entrance from the ore props. Did you see it? You should find them very easily if you go into the static plopper builds and in the ore buildings, and then in the ore buildings they are close to the very end, these two. Yeah, I figured. I mean, I am very happy with the grass variations I have of you, to be honest. Like, as much as I'm happy about options, I have amazing working grass variations for my terrain from your pack, so not too relevant for me. Again, one of the reasons why we all love Gaga surfaces so much is that we can drag them out as quick as dirty as I'm doing here right now. this would be really problematic with most other surfaces, but with Gaga surfaces, they invite you to be lazy with them, and I absolutely love that. The difference is not a big one, to be honest, but it does make the cliffs so much more interesting in comparison to back here, where they're entirely plain, and then we go over here. This looks so much better in comparison. Yeah, of course, you should never try to optimize any assets to my builds, because not many people are playing in desert. Every once in a while I see some other desert builds in Reddit, but rarely, and most of them are not very detailed, so definitely don't focus on anything desert related. Okay, the question is how far I go, because I'm gonna be too lazy to work out the entire hill. I really just want to work out the area here around the mine that we interact with the most. I mean, the one that for me is the very nicest is this one. This one is so light, and this one looks kinda dry as well, right? So exactly the vibe I'd want. I love this because it's so light, and really, if you want the grass heavier in some areas, you can always just layer the same surface multiple times. So many of them are really good, but this one is always gonna be my favorite, the second of the TTP. Because it's very, very subtle, but adds that slight level of variation that's beautiful. We're very surely gonna go in here with a bit of grass later as well, but I want to figure out how I want these cliffs to look first. Because again, this surface has been amazing. I want to draw out the rest of the areas where I want to use this one really quick, and then we're gonna find some more to work with it, and then we're probably gonna start going in with boulders and such as well. Yeah, and you're gonna be excited, Clovis, because what you're having or seeing here, actually I spoiled some of it yesterday. But all of these are new, right? Like these are all the old Gaga rock surfaces. And all of these ones we're looking at here are new ones. And some of them are really nice for me, but I think most of them, from having a first look at them, will actually shine the very most in traditional grass builds. So I'm sure you are gonna have a blast with those. This one I actually also like quite a lot because it does give the shading of the other rocks, makes them a bit more beige, which is exactly what we kind of want. So I'm actually tempted to be really lazy and rough with this surface. We're gonna try something here. Maybe we're gonna have to delete this in a second. But for science, I'm literally gonna just go over this entire hillside here. This is probably gonna be too lazy to actually get away with it. But we will see in a moment. Maybe I can be an absolute criminal and have this not look bad. Okay, this is gonna have to get reverted, because while I generally like it changing the shade, it makes this look a lot flatter. If we have a look at it, we lose a lot of the depth and shadow we had before. So great surface, don't use it like I just use it, but actually use it in specific areas that you wanna pronounce. And yeah, there is, if you're excited for new stuff, Clovis, there is some other new stuff. Look at this, is there something you notice? Or have a look at this, is there something you notice? Or maybe have a look at this. Because what I hope you would be noticing is all of these amazing new shutters and doors that Elgando made. And I'm sure people are gonna have an absolute blast with these, because let me find one of the few buildings where we have not done it yet. I think we actually nearly done it everywhere by now. These we haven't propped up. Look at the difference. This is the normal vanilla gate, and then we find a pretty Elgando gate and fit it in there perfectly. And once we're happy with our placement, we put it in there, and is that not 20 times prettier than it was before? I love these. And I especially love it because I love to put graffiti on all of these shutters, and the vanilla shutters are not that pretty, and the graffiti on these looks even nicer. So soon, and even the doors are very sick, though I find the doors a bit finicky, because Elgando already complained about there being too much different sizes of doors, and I get why you were complaining. Because often when I try it, they don't align optimally. Sometimes they do. But yeah, I mean, that's not a you problem. That's the game having so many door sizes. This would be perfect, but then you do get that little bit of word bleeding in the bottom. So I guess maybe we can ignore that he just gotten out of that. Why are they all doing crazy kickflips and skate tricks when they're coming out of my buildings? Not released yet, but soon. What if we just move this one backwards? We lose a door handle, that's actually welcome in this case. And now we lose some of the door, but we do also pretty much get rid of the bleeding. Honestly, kinda. Not optimal, but here, this does work pretty well. I think my building is slightly sunken, yeah, which I have to slightly sunk it, because we have the terrain switching. So, in this side here, it's not sunken anymore. I'm not working with perfectly flat terrain in this entire area, so that obviously is something that's difficult for you to work around. See, here I also use your doors, Elgando, and here they look so cute. I kept the vanilla shutters, because here I actually really like the vanilla shutters in them. But then I did not like the vanilla door, and well, this one actually we need to fix up the placement very slightly to have this a tad cleaner. That looks a tad cleaner, but looks so nice with your doors on there. And welcome in, Fortune, very nice to see you. And look at our cute little mine we're making progress upon. In fact, I think, did we not somewhere here? Not yet, I guess. I thought I placed one of your graffitis here already. But yes, I'm gonna show you again real quick as well. because I just showed Clovis and we're still kinda in the right area. There is a new mod that's gonna come soon, and it's gonna be a mod that is gonna be very exciting for you, because look at these beautiful doors we're getting here. Again, this is bleeding a little, but Elgando is right. The issue is that my buildings are slightly sunken into the game, so not something Elgando can really avoid happening. That's all up on us. But look at how pretty that door looks in comparison. And then you have all of these shutter doors as well, which I think by now we pretty much replace all of the ones I want to replace, because these I do think look nice. But if you have a look over here, look at how beautiful these shutters are fashioned. They are all stunning, like absolutely stunning, especially in comparison to the vanilla ones. It makes such an absolute difference. Yes, soon new Elgando release, and also soon new Gaga release. It's what we've been doing the rest of the time. Placing all of these rocks, some of the old ones, but also some of those new ones here. And these actually you can grab already. If you are hungry for it, you can join Elgando's Discord where Gaga posted them. And try around with them already, but I'm sure sooner or later they also properly get published. And I do think we're probably gonna go back to the very OG surface we kept using for these kind of things as well. And use the heck. I guess I did not close that one cleanly. And pronounce the very light cliff areas a bit lighter. But yeah, a lot of good stuff coming, honestly. And did you end up streaming yesterday, Fashion? Because I seen that you were thinking about it. And usually I would have been very excited because it was somewhat early, but then I did stream yesterday quickly as well. So I did not see in the end if you were streaming. Maybe we were streaming at the same time. But typical that for once you're streaming early, and of course it's in a time where I can't watch. Okay. Of course, always I want an early Fashion stream so I can watch longer, and then the one time it happens, it's when I'm streaming myself. Okay, I think I do have to go in with boulders first before we can figure this area much better. Sir, your timing is honestly difficult. I might stream this Thursday, but shouldn't matter. If we're streaming at the same time, then so be it. But I generally like that you're trying to stream earlier. That's very much appreciated. But yeah, it's rock time. And when I was building the botanical garden, I was telling people I think I learned for the future, and I'm gonna build rocks in the editor that are already recolored, so we don't have to recolor as much by hand. Have we actually learned? Am I doing anything better now? Obviously not. We're gonna do exactly the same. And then later on, we're gonna complain about having to recolor all of these rocks, which I have not done that. That's my entire point. I should do that. If I'd be clever and forward thinking, then that's exactly what I would do. Load into the editor now and build some colored rocks that we would use in this area. Do I feel motivated enough to do that? I don't know. I mean, actually, I would feel motivated to do that. The issue with the editor, and it's one that actually tilts me slightly, is that reloading, or not reloading, but to get into the editor, I need to get off of my main playset, Because my main playset has so many custom assets that if I type something in the editor search, I will immediately
Abdul,
see my
Get the
desktop.
rocks.
Indeed, the rocks. And it's gonna be a lot more rocks. Though I do think this already helps quite a lot. Just these few rocks on this surface together with your surfaces is starting to look very nice. Well, for everybody that watched yesterday and was watching me fail to put a cargo stop here, there actually is a solution, and it's a solution that we all could have expected because it's a StarQ solution. And obviously, StarQ always thinks of everything. So if you try to use a vanilla cargo stop, like I tried to do the entire time yesterday, this will happen. It will keep telling you it won't work. No avail, no matter what we tried. We tried a lot about it. Now, what you obviously want to do is be clever and just use StarQ stuff, because everything of StarQ is amazing. And then you find these things, a hybrid track for a train depot, passenger station, and cargo stop, or everything by itself. And you literally just get a single rail like this that does everything for you. All it does is, or all it needs is road access. But even with this, StarQ already told me that if you want to avoid having the road access as close, what you can do is just place it down like this to have the station. And then you can just go into Better Bulldozer and delete the original rail of this station, right? Seems a bit silly, because now you're left with nothing, but bear with me. Or also you want to delete one more thing, just so I show you guys properly. You also want to go in and delete the stop marker. Now we would have to figure out which the stop marker is. I believe... I'm actually not sure which one. So I'm not going to do it now. But what you can do then is you can just use an additional single track upgrade. And this one you can place freely where you want. So you can get a road access here and still end up using this rail instead. And I think this is amazing, because this is exactly the solution we need for here. I don't really feel motivated to build it in right now, because it seems a bit annoying to do that, but just so I educate you guys and you guys can see what I learned about this, I'm shared it here real quick, because this is absolutely amazing if you want to build your own cargo stops, which I had no idea that's possible. I tried to use the integrated train stop yesterday and failed horribly. But together with that, it's perfectly possible. And yeah, I guess it is a rock show, especially lately, because I feel a bit sorry, because we switched from this, which I might have placed a rock or two back here. Okay, I'll be honest, it might have been 3 rocks in total. And now, I guess, the misery repeats, because this is also gonna get really rocky on this side, so... Well, okay, I might be under-exaggerating a little. Maybe it was 4 rocks in total. Something along those values. But yeah, it's gonna be even more rocks here. So I guess Elgendo is not wrong. Welcome to today's rock show. It's your host, b00tyaddict, and I hope you guys enjoy
I
the
wish
ride.
we had a cactus.
I also wish we had a cactus. Very much so. In fact, the more I think about it, because so far it seems like the custom right everywhere matches seem to be pretty harmless performance-wise. I still have not played around that too much, but other people have. I know that Cons, for example, has like over 90 of those custom meshes on his airport, and he said he had no performance impact. So if that is actually the case, then maybe a custom mesh right everywhere cactus actually is doable. Not sure. Well, thank you for the, but I had no clue about this. I actually asked Starkview today if he thinks a block for cargo trains could be possible, and he kind of scolded me for good reason, saying he has a mod doing exactly what I want out since a year, which I have not really built much rail in Los Vagos yet, so I had no need for it yet, but yeah, I got scolded by the master himself for being a clueless bot at this game. Now, Starkview is always an absolute friendly angel. He obviously just pointed out his own mod, but it didn't actually scold me. So nobody should ever be afraid to ask. Even if you look silly, who cares? If you look silly and you learn something through it, then that's just the price you have to pay to get better at the game, I guess. And I'm sure Rocky Horror Picture Show got inspired exactly by what we're doing here. I have to admit, I absolutely hate that movie. One of my best friends when I was a teenager, it was her favorite movie, so I had to watch it quite a few times. And I am not gonna say I'm happy about having watched it more than once. Yes, Clovis, I rarely ever see as much truth in my chat. Brush indeed is for losers. This would not look as good brush, because I know it's hard to realize while I'm doing this and not properly talk about it. But you look at this value while we're brushing the rocks. This value is kinda constantly changing while we're spamming down the rocks. Because in this area, they're very flat, but then if I go here in a deep area, they're deeper than I want them to. So depending on what terrain I'm in, I have my one hand on my page up and page down buttons. So I pretty much spam two things at the same time to adjust the depth all the time. This is literally not possible to do with a brush, so yes, brush would suck for this, and the look you would get would be a lot different than what we're getting here. In fact, I say this, and then I did exactly what I think looks bad, because this rock, for example, is out too far, so is that one. I don't want these to be really big rocks. I want them to give some ground texture, not more, not less. What grid? What do you mean? This? Okay, for Gaga. I'm gonna save. Probably my game is gonna boot us to desktop because too many rocks at once, but for science, take the grid feature. Hold on, where's my grid? Why am I not getting any more? See, I have literally never used the grid. I don't even know how to use this properly. Why am I only getting a line? This is like line tool. Yeah, of course, I'd have to do this. I get that. In fact, we are gonna use line tool today for something. But It's just a line. It's no difference to a normal line tool. How do I add more rows? Oh, so I need to actually, then we're gonna up those real quick so we actually see your rocks. So I would have to, okay, okay. Guys, I don't like giving up control. Yes, this could actually be usable and it's not a horrible idea for here. But then, do I mind suffering through hand placing this entire mountainside? I don't really. Do I mind suffering, making you guys suffer through watching me place the entire mountainside? A little. A little. I feel a bit bad about doing this to you guys, but it still does not make me willing to use line tool, I'm sorry. Yes, I just play this game so I can place rocks, really. I don't even like cities, I just like placing rocks. So building roads, putting down buildings, all of that is just annoyance to me. And this is the moment where I'm actually having fun. In fact, the only thing more exciting to me than placing rocks is gonna be later when we start recoloring some of these rocks. That's where the actual fun begins, guys. Gaga, that seems clever and efficient. That is both things we're not doing on this channel. Being clever is something I despise. One should never be clever. We're proud idiots over here. And being efficient, I'm German. I have to be efficient all day. At least while I play video games, I can be an absolute inbred and do everything as efficient or inefficient as possible. Yeah, all of you guys will have nightmares of rocks, and you guys are not gonna be the only ones, because so will I. It's not that many, guys. We already finished pretty much most of the mountainside, and it's been like 10 minutes. Well, I can't say too much about it, besides just be patient and wait, and good times will await, because there might or might not be something nice happening in regard to copy and pasting. I cannot say more, else I am in big trouble, as Mourinho would say, but maybe that already makes you a bit happier. Oh, the terrain here is so annoying, even though I keep lowering and rising. The terrain here is so different that some of these are too high and most of these are too low. Here I do think we will have to use Move It and adjust those slightly. But yeah, obviously having a copy-paste mod in this game would be amazing. So would be, that's actually been news for me. In CS1, I guess, there has been Control-Z. Was that a standalone mod, or was that part of Anarchy or Move It or something like that? Because yeah, Control-Z, especially for terraforming, would be an absolute game changer, because I'm ass at terraforming and always mess things up. So if I could Control-Z those, then that would make me very happy. Well, I mean, I have to admit there is something where Clovis is spamming rocks all day. Something we have been severely lacking on this channel with, and it does, quite frankly, make me a bit embarrassed. We don't place very many bollards lately, which, honestly, embarrassing, and all of you guys should shame me for it. But it's also that we are working in areas that are so rural that I have less justification to put bollards everywhere. So I can't take too much blame for it. But yeah, I've been absolutely slacking on bollards, and I'm painfully aware of that. Or also, I want to try one thing with you guys together, and this might, maybe it's not gonna take some while. I want to have a pass through under here to see if the heath and everything are correct. So we want to go to simulation, because they always look too fast and go very slow. Actually, even like this should be fine. And go first person camera. And how do I move? Hold on. I never understand the first person camera. I want to be at the front of that train. That should be possible somehow, no? Well, this is not the view I want. Actually, we can move with the... I knew there was a way, because Obelix always tells me. With the arrow keys. Okay, it's fine. If the wagons are in front of us, we don't mind. But we want a clear view. Actually, we want to go even a tad further, so we can look backwards after we pass to see if the clearance for the engine itself is fine. Well, I mean, I'm very happy to read that, Clovis, because I can't disappoint you on all fronts. If I disappoint you with a lack of bollards, I at least have to make up with lots of rocks instead. And to be fair, after we finish this mine, there is not gonna be rocks for a long, long time. So you guys are gonna be begging for rocks and want me to go back to placing rocks everywhere, because you guys will miss it in future. Okay, maybe the sim speed have been a little too slow, and I hope this actually is a train of our line. This might not be a cargo line of us, but pass-through traffic. If it's pass-through traffic, we are not gonna see what I wanna see. And looking at this, we also have to unelectrify all of these tracks. We don't want any wires here. Nice, okay, it's exactly the train we wanna drive. So now comes the interesting moment, because we're passing through our cargo harbor here, or terminal. Also, us driving through the middle of that sign seems slightly questionable. Might want to have a look at that again. Yeah, I had the new bollard. I don't think the clearance will be fine. This looks a bit... guys, duck! Please, guys, pull in your head and duck a little. Because this is gonna hurt. Why? This is literally built to fill things. Is this built to fill trucks and not trains? That is a little bit of an issue for us. I don't think I can fix this appropriately. Yeah, it's too much to be able, because I can gain a very little, because we're a very little sunk into the ground, but I cannot gain as much keys as we'd have to. Maybe we can try lowering the track in that area slightly. Else, I do think this is a very cute pass-through, and I very much like it, but yeah, the clearance is an issue. Damn it! Actually, damn it, because these are not sunk. Yeah, no, I have no room to go up with these. They're pretty much even to the ground. Well, yes, I could do that. The issue is a bit that this is all one building, right? And I can't hide all of this with rocks. Like these metal beams, sure, I can just put them on rocks. But the building itself, I have no option to work with the building. I do think the simple solution is to never look at that in first person again and ignore our problems and just pretend they don't exist. None of you guys seen what just happened. We all together just forget about what we just seen and pretend that it's fine. The issue with thinking the track a bit is that I will also think the terrain around it here. Else, yes, that would be the most elegant solution. So I do think my best solution for this scenario really is just ignoring the problem exists in the first place. Because yeah, see, I placed decals here everywhere already. I cannot even touch any of this in manipulation mode. Because there is decals above it everywhere. The option has been decided. I handle this like I handle my problems in real life. I just ignore the problem, and then if it catches up with me in the future, then is a problem then. But for now, we can just ignore it and pretend there has not been an issue in the first place. But actually sad, because Elsa would be a really nice first person ride. Like this, the first person ride is a little questionable. Yeah, just ignore your problems and place more rocks, Clovis. This is how you deal with problems. I'm not saying this is what you should teach mini Clovis as well, how to deal with life.
Abdul?
But maybe this is something you should pass on to mini Clovis. I mean, honestly, I don't think we have to place much more rocks, because I don't want rocks in all of the areas. This is so flat, this can be mainly empty, maybe sprawl a very little roughly around, but I don't want this to be so dense. I mainly want it dense in the proper cliff areas. So I actually think we're nearly done placing boulders for now. The most exciting part about this is that afterwards we're just gonna do the same with vegetation. So you guys are gonna be like, oh, finally, no more watching him place rocks, but then I'm just gonna place a different prop in the same position. So as always, high action gameplay on my channel. I mean, as much as you guys like to complain about me placing rocks, does this not already look kinda cute? Is this not 10 times as pretty as it's been just 10 minutes ago? Well, I guess half an hour ago. I'm not that quick at placing rocks. But I do think it's starting to pay off. Also, when my game is lagging, it's obviously due to the game being bad and not me placing boulders recklessly everywhere. Never admit you're at fault, always blame others. See, this is horrible. These are all too high. All of these 3 ones we just placed are shit. And for once, we're not gonna delete, but actually quickly lower them. This one is still too high. Okay, better. And honestly, I do think that's fine for now. I'm probably gonna do this as well in this side. But then we're good. And in this side, yes, we're also gonna do this to some extent. But differently. Because I do want this side to be more quarry-like. I'm gonna have to try around with this a bit. But after Elegando finished this amazing decal he made for me, I think we're gonna experiment around a bit more with this side, how to combine this nice texture of Elegando with boulders to fade it nicely. So this gets its own identity. I don't want all of this pit to look similar to each other. I want this to be one area, and I want this to be one area, and I do really want them to be distinguished or distinctable to each other. I don't even know how one would say this. Forgive me, I'm not English, I'm German, so I'm trying. Alright, I figure probably it's one of these. You can get a tour of each of these, what is gonna happen there, or you can choose right away if you already know what you want. All of them are available for now, so sure. And not saying this to stare any trouble, but just saying the district takeovers are not permanent. If you see a district that you think it would belong to you instead of the person it's currently belonging to, feel free to just snatch it away. Roads and properties and all of that are permanent, so if you buy any of that, it's gonna be yours forever, but the districts aren't. The districts are up for war. So, feel free to steal. Yeah, I mean, I also been in holidays. No, actually, the district game has been very inactive lately. So, you do still have most of yours, I believe. Yeah, you still have Forties Outback, and you still have the Hipster Acres and Lower Beechington, and even Crook Corner. So, yeah, actually, nobody's been stealing. I always tell people they should steal, but then terribly, my community is very nice and friendly, and all of you are very cute and wholesome. So that doesn't happen too often. You don't have to. If you steal the district is yours till somebody else snatches it away, and there is no snatch protection. But you just have to hope that people keep being as nice as they've been so far, and it's yours forever, pretty much. Okay, now the question is how overgrown we want this, because as always, we definitely want some ground vegetation, but probably less than we usually put. Because especially this bush is also very annoying to place in terrain. So I guess, thinking about it, Clovis, I should have worded that different. Now you point that out in chat, that sounds a little wrong, but I guess we're just gonna stay with it. Honestly, this is what we want. Not more, not less. I don't want this to be super green or anything, but we do need to go through this with some ground vegetation. And especially what I said here before is very relevant. We will have to constantly keep adjusting the heat of these, because the bush will come out too little or too much depending on how steep the terrain is. So we will have to keep adjusting that value all the time while placing it. What actually makes me sad about these dead plants is how quickly they despawn if you zoom out. Look at this. Looks like we didn't place any. Close up, they look so beautiful that I can still live with that happening, and we just need to place some dead and some living plants. But yeah, the dead model sadly all have horrible LODs. I mean, snatch insurance. I guess, Clovis, we cannot word this any non-sus way, sadly. Oh shit! And now Masker is here. Actually, Masker sent me something. I've gotten so many goodies after holidays from all of you cuties. Masker also sent me something nice today that we actually did not have a look at yet, so we should probably do that together in a moment after I place some more of these pubes. And welcome in, Metzger. Nice to see you. And hope you're having a nice evening. Are you on night shift right now, or are you actually free? Well, yeah, one of my viewers pointed out that this looks like I'm placing pubes everywhere, and I cannot unsee it anymore. So by now I just agree that I'm putting down pubes everywhere in my map. Because, yeah, looking at what we're doing here, we are pretty much placing pubes everywhere. Honestly, now looking at this, even with just a single layer of ground vegetation and some rocks, look at how Gaga surfaces are starting to shine in this area now. Compare this to how plain this would look if I would just put the vegetation and the rocks. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start placing all of this, because I think without it, Gaga surfaces still look amazing, but they are not complemented well by anything. So now we are complementing it with some additional framing and work around it. I do think it's really starting to look amazing. And I will do so in a moment, Metzger. I just want to finish this one over of plants. And you guys are gonna be excited when I say, oh, we're done with placing this kind of plant, but don't be too excited, because after this, we're just gonna take a different kind of plant and do exactly the same we're doing right here. Though the next plant at least is a bit less sensitive to elevation, so I can probably place it a bit quicker without having to always adjust the elevation in between. And I know I could just use a brush tool and this would look 20% worse, 10% worse. And we would save like an hour of flopping plants. But I do care about those 10 to 20%, so I rather place plants for an hour. In all seriousness, there is a streamer who I started watching somewhat regularly lately that is exclusively zoning, and I'm having a good time over there. And it's Jonah. I'm sure most of you guys are aware of Jonah. But the reason I think it's interesting and curious to watch Jonah build his cities, even though he's pretty much exclusively zoning, is because he is playing with that 57-kilometer map mod that gives you absolutely incredibly gigantic maps. And at that scale, obviously, you can't really detail out places like we do here, because you would build one map for your entire lifetime. But in that scale, zoning actually looks really good, just because it gets so gigantic in scale, and you can really easily draw out multiple cities and get whole counties in instead of just single cities. It's very interesting to watch. I highly recommend everybody to give a look over there. In fact, I'm usually so bad at shouting out. For once, I'm actually gonna remember it and shout out Jonah. For anybody not aware of him, can I shout out people if they're not in my chat? I guess I can't. Never mind. Obviously, need to wait till he's here sometime, but I'm sure all of you know about Jonah anyway, so shout out not really needed. Can I? I just tried. I don't know the exact spelling. Sad. Yeah, no, I need the autocomplete to help me with it. Alright, enough layer of pubes for now. Now we're actually gonna do what I said we're gonna do when Metzger is here. Ignore all of this layout and how this looks. This is all just a placeholder for now. And if I seen right, you had this tagged under Metzger. And it should be this one. Look at this beauty, guys. We're probably gonna move this later on, but just to place it somewhere where it belongs. And then you say I should zoom in on it. I mean, you can kinda see through it, but then in a really abandoned old building like this, I don't think that's a problem, to be honest. I don't think that's too bad. Yes, you can kinda look through it, but if there would be a wood hut as badly made as this one in real life, you could also kinda look through it, so I'm not really bothered by that, to be honest. I think the model looks beautiful, otherwise. I really like it, because it's very unique. Like, this one, and this one give such a vibe together, these three bigger buildings. I will really enjoy that. Okay, I'm gonna try what fashion is telling me. I think I did that correctly. I think I did so. If so, you all should check out Jonah, because it's a very different kind of Cities Skylines to what I am playing. But it's still a very cool way of playing Cities Skylines, so highly recommend to check it out. Also, obviously, everybody check out Metzger and Clovis and Fashion, but I do think all of my regular viewers know each other's anyways, so not as relevant. And welcome in, Shocks. Nice to see you. And yeah, Metzger, honestly, even just looking at this, and this is an absolute mess, this area is gonna be so pretty just to the assets you and Jay built for me. The only thing I'm not certain about is if I can fit this beautiful train bridge. I think it's beautiful, and I'd love to use it, but I will have to really make use of my 2 brain cells to figure a proper solution on how to use this. Well, I don't think it's a specific map I'm talking about, but he in general is, at least whenever I watched him lately, he's playing with that like 57 super big map mod, and it really changes the game, right? Like, I don't know, this is our map, and Jonah's map is probably like 25 times as big as this, which I don't even know how to fill this map. I don't need a bigger map mod. But if you play very infrastructure heavy and zone and build out big areas, it's a very curious way of playing the game, I think. Also, hot tip for everybody using the new, how are these called? Real Vision decals. Especially with some of the ones that I like the most here. This one, for example. Absolutely stunning decal, right? I don't like it so much if it's on the normal elevation. Again, pay attention to the elevation value over here and what's happening to it, and paying attention to the decal itself. Can you guys see how this is just getting prettier and prettier the lower I go with this? It's getting very subtle. It's getting a lot less weird photorealistic, like the Real Vision stuff usually does. And it becomes a lot more natural and fitting to our actual ground theme. Everybody should always keep this in mind with decals. It's so important to raise and lower these to get the look a bit more appropriate to what you're working with. Because some of the very best Real Vision decals look really bad on their default elevation, but they look absolutely stunning if you work with the elevation. Probably this one will remove again, because I want to build this out to some kind of mechanic, kind of local gas station, but later on. I'm using the local version for 2 reasons. One is I have probably, I don't know, 10,000 Real Vision decals placed in my safe. And if you replace the local version with the PDX version, you will lose all of the place ones, which I'm not looking forward to. But the even bigger reason is that I actually adjust the Real Vision decals quite a bit locally. And you can't really do that if you use a PDX version, so I do think it is a lot nicer to have that one locally. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, Gaga, as always, and have an absolute wonderful good night and a nice evening. Bye-bye, cutie, and thank you so much for your nice new rocks. Again, I do think, as a goodbye for Gaga, even though this is just a very quick early SketchUp, these rock surfaces are looking so good here already. Well, you only have 3 blocks to go, Elgando, and then you can be back again. But yeah, I guess it's getting, whenever it's getting to a time where I should slowly get to bed, Elgando is nearly done with working and is saying goodbye. My entire streaming schedule is only so Elgando can watch me at work. it's pretty much why I always stream so late, just to accommodate Elgando, not because I don't manage to stream any sooner, of course. But yeah, see, with these, the elevation is a lot less of an issue. So with these, I can really be quick and dirty and just spam them around the mountain. The pubes are a lot more finicky because the bush itself is quite wide. So with those wider things like boulders or something, you do have to adjust the elevation a lot more, which makes it a lot more tedious to place. This, meanwhile, we can really just spam randomly wherever we just are. Yeah, actually, your boss pay you to watch Booty stream. I agree. And thanks for tuning in, Elgando, and have an absolutely wonderful evening. Yes, to get a desert map like this is actually very easy. In fact, since I don't have my proper theme settings right now, because I messed those up and have to redo those, I can actually show you really quick. Because this does not have to be a desert map, right? If you would not want to play this as a desert map, then here you go. We have a grass build now, which does look really silly in our case, because we're using desert decals everywhere, so yeah, questionable if this is how you want it to look. But in theory, this is all you need to change, right? So any map that you would like to play on in a different biome, you just need texture replacer, and then you need to find a theme you like. For example, probably if I would be on a grass map, I would probably play with this theme. I don't like the grass of this so much, so that one I would probably change, but the cliffs of this are really pretty. So you can also change different things, right? If you think the cliff of this is really pretty, but you don't like the grass, then in theory you could take the grass theme of this instead, but keep the cliff theme of the other one. Again, questionable if this looks good, just as a show of how you can adjust this. And then obviously you can just use entire ones. In fact, my settings that I find the prettiest are not these we have right now. But I think the very prettiest is if you combine the desert map theme and the rocky sandy, because I do think some of each are the prettiest. I have my perfect settings somewhere in my Discord. So if you'd wanna steal my settings one to one, that would be fairly easy in my Discord. But yeah, I should go back and reapply my settings like I had them too, because it could be a bit prettier than what we have here right now. Yes, there is quite a few, or in general, yes, the big map mod seems to work very flawless from my understanding. I've not played with it, but I watched people play with it and asked them questions about it. It does seem pretty flawless, and people seem to be playing with it pretty much without issues. It does mess with terraforming a little. So I think it's a bit difficult, or more difficult, to play on maps with a lot of terrain with it, because those will kinda get stretched out. I can't explain it too well, I've actually gotten it showed, but basically the heat map of the map you're using gets stretched out, so it messes with the terraforming and terrain in general a bit. Else, it does seem pretty flawless, really. But that can always change, right? There can be a single update from the game, and suddenly all of the big maps are broken and corrupted and don't work anymore. It's unlikely something like that would happen, but that surely could happen. So enjoy with caution, I would say, especially if you really care about your cities. And for me, it's more of a question of, do I need more space in my build? And the honest truth is I already have too much space in my build with how slow I'm building. How am I ever gonna build out all of this area? We've been building on this little bit of area for the last 5 months. So I don't really need a bigger area, and I do think it also requires a really good computer, right? Yes, flatter map would definitely be better, because I believe then you face less issues with the terraforming and such. So yes, for the big map mod, flatter map is better. And also big caveat, you need a better computer, right? Like, the bigger your map is, the more intense the game is gonna be for your computer. One of the reasons I like small cities is that I am on a pretty bad computer, and we would get really bad sim speed if I would play with a lot more population than I do. So for me, it's a cautious decision, not only because I enjoy small maps, but the truth is also that my hardware is not really suited for really big maps or saves. So I don't really have that freedom of doing that. I mean, I very much agree with what you guys are saying, but then I do think even in this map site that totally is possible, right? Because as much as I hate to say this, Los Vagos is getting towards a stage of being done, right? Like, we still work out this mine, then we still work out this entire industrial area here, and then sure, we will keep building some small details here and around it. But generally, Los Vagos is actually getting towards being somewhat finished. And I want to build this city, and we already have, even though it's a very small city, but we already have this city, right? And they are connected. Our rail lines are not perfect, but we have rail connection from here to here to here. And eventually, I also want to build this as our biggest city. So I do later want at least 4 different cities in this save. Question is how long my computer will agree with playing on this save and how soon I will brick and corrupt this save. So I doubt we'll ever actually get 4 cities, but 3 maybe. So I do think it works. Yours is even bigger than mine, then Shock's. Yours is even quite noticeably bigger than mine. I think my save file is roughly at 400, not 400, at 275 megabytes now. So yours is nearly twice as big as mine, which makes a lot of sense because your save is a lot, or your city is a lot bigger than mine. But yeah, that's actually crazy, because then you save twice and you have a gigabyte in your disk field. Which, yeah, that does seem pretty absurd, actually. I agree. I actually do very much agree, and I've been thinking about it. Also, thank you so much for highlighting that area. That's very nice of you. Yes, I've been thinking about it. In fact, I even have areas in mind. There is a few things I really want to do. This is looking very bad, but eventually I want to turn this into some kind of weird treehouse hippie community up here on the hill and fill this in here. And the Burning Man area would actually be very nice in any of this empty land here, because we do have in between those farms, especially this area, I think, is really interesting for Burning Man. And I do agree that thematically Burning Man would be really cool, and I don't like to have as much empty land here without telling a story. We have this, which is horrible, and I guess I should remove, but it's my shitty Easter egg of Breaking Bad RC in the middle of the desert cooking something that shouldn't be cooked. But this can get removed, and instead we can build a nice Burning Man area somewhere up here, where it's kinda in the city, kind of a bit outside. I don't want it to be too isolated. I even been thinking of turning this weird area here a bit more into Burning Man style, but then I do think that our trashy teenager have been the best solution for what we did here. But an actual Burning Man area would be really cool, I agree. And it would also allow us to finally use something that I was trying around with in Right Everywhere, that I can actually show you guys on stream real quick, because maybe one of you have an even better idea how to use this appropriately. Did I forget the shortcut here actually? Because one thing I think that is really interesting and nice to use in Right Everywhere is the white cube. Bear with me, this sounds really silly. We want this to be very small, maybe 10 times 10, and then we want this to be incredibly big, so we get some weird pole looking thing like this. Bear with me, it looks really stupid now, but if we now go into the actual properties of this and we give this some emulsiveness and we give this a nice kinda laser beamy color, and obviously would have to play around with the value a bit more. This is absolutely amazing. This is an actual perfect laser beam for a rave. I guess it should be even smaller. That's too thin, I guess. Something like 3 maybe. I've not really tried around with this much. I would love to find a way how to turn this off during the day and then have it on during the night. I think that's something we could do, in fact, if we use a formula here. I'm gonna try around with that off stream because that seems kind of boring. I just wanted to show you this quickly, and I agree. I do really, there is many things. It's why whenever people ask me when I'm starting my new build, I'll tell them it's gonna be a while because there is so much I still want to build. I really want a Burning Man area. I really want a shooting range over here. I do really want a traditional old school automotive cinema. I'm not even sure how you'd call that in English, but a cinema where you go with your car to watch the movie. And there is so many other things and entire other cities I want to build on this save that we're definitely gonna be on here for a long time still. Is it called drive theaters? Okay, then yeah, that's what I want to build. I think a drive theater would be so cool and actually somewhat easy to do. In fact, I really want a big screen with a Nicolas Cage image on top of it in my drive theater. So alone for that Easter egg or a silly joke of a silly 3-year-old, we will have to build a drive theater because I definitely want a crazy, creepy, smiling Nicolas Cage in my build. A mod for CS2 or CS1? Really, has there been a mod like that for CS1 or CS2 even, I mean? Crazy. Okay, yeah, that must have been before I started playing, because I don't think while I was playing there was a drive-through theater. That's actually really cool. that actually is a pretty cool idea to build a laser cutter with that. The truth is, with Right Everywhere, as much as I love the mod, I have not really pushed the boundaries in it yet. And I am still a bit cautious about its performance, because it is cutting some corners. Well, not really cutting corners, but it has no virtual textualization, and I am a bit scared that if you use it very widely everywhere, it could have negative impact on your performance, and my computer is not that powerful. So I've been somewhat mindfully about where to use it and how hard I go. But then everybody who's been going a bit harder than me seems to not feel much performance impact, so probably it's fine. Because again, I asked Cons builds, who I'm sure all of you know, because he built a very big airport similar to Sully, but when he built his, all of the custom meshes of Nico have been out yet, or Niogo I should say, and he used all of them in his airport, and I asked him if he felt any negative performance impact, and he said not at all, even though he's using over 90 different custom meshes, and that honestly is impressive and a really good sign. And we don't have to entirely finish this area and can go into some actual proper ground detailing, because I do think that's a bit more appropriate. I just wanna, at least in the middle area, get the style down a bit more appropriate, because I'm always happy about your opinion on how things turn out, and often you guys have great ideas how to make things better. So if we work this area out, we can have a look at it together, and maybe you guys have some great ideas for me, as you often do, for how I can make this even prettier. Because I don't think we need that much more. Like, already this slide ground vegetation together with the rocks and the surfaces. Some of them, not to the same extent, but yes, some of them I will want to color again. I think mainly in this side, because I do want to have very different, how would you call it? Different kind of vibes for these areas, right? I want these to be very distinguishable, a mine, and different from this side, which I really want a quarry. And here Elgendo made us this very nice cliff decal that he wants to adjust a bit still, but as a starting point. So in this area, I'm very sure I will work with colored rocks and this again. And yeah, the issue is a bit, because I've been literally talking about it before. Yes, I should build this in the editor. My problem is, while on stream, I can't really load in and out of the editor, because I have to change out of my main playset, so restart the game once, and then change back into my main playset, goddamn, and start up a second time, right? So I'm pretty much starting my game twice to go into the editor really quickly, and that's like half an hour, because my loading times are not that bad when I'm not streaming, but when I'm streaming they get significantly worse, so I can't really do editor stuff while I'm streaming, and I still am trying to find the right style mostly, and I don't really know what I'm doing before I found my style. So it's a bit difficult to do this before I'm fully set, really. Hi, welcome in, Damir. Nice to see you here. How did your stream go earlier? I was in there for a while till I got a bit busy with work stuff still and then bounced, but hope you had a nice stream. We've been, as we often been lately, placing loads and loads of rocks today. And am slowly and surely working out this side of our mine area. And making some slight progress, always slow and little progress in my channel, but getting there eventually. These I want to use really partially. I want some bigger vegetation, not only because I do think the variation close up is nice, but mainly as well because the smaller the plants are, the easier you lose them in further views. So if you use some bigger plants, you can make sure that even further zoomed out, you're not losing all of your ground vegetation and get to look a bit too plain. So it helps us twice, really. Oh, actually, you tried that. I've been interestedly reading about that mod, because especially at the start, that mod gotten a bit of flag in the TDW Discord, as in doing something generally good, but doing it a bit questionable and being able to cause some issues. But I do think it's gotten quite a few updates since, and everybody who I seen it use was very happy with it. So I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I am hesitant using that mod till I hear more positive reviews about it. I'm generally scared of anything that adjusts simulation, to be honest. While my game is incredibly heavy modded, it's pretty much mostly visual. And I have very few mods that actually change anything of function. That's very curious. I mean, that might actually be interesting if you tried around with that Damir, if you give some feedback to that mod, because I believe the mod creator is pretty active and tries to fix things, but he's still fairly new to modding in general, so if you have any helpful feedback for him, I'm sure that would be helpful. Yeah, that is very similar to what I heard as in reviews, that if you use it, it initially seems to really help, but then clogs up fairly quickly again. I mean, there must be something in your save then that does get those stuck citizens in the first place. Yeah, I mean, I don't struggle so much with the homeless anymore, but yeah, in my old save, where I was still using bye-bye homelessness, every time they said they fixed homelessness, it didn't really fix anything for me. And nowadays, I just changed my approach dealing with homeless, and I just ignore the homeless as good as I can. And if I have homeless people somewhere, I'm being a very cute and loving major, and I give them nice housing, aka I hide them under rocks because I don't want to see the homeless people, which works, I guess, as a solution. Not sure how humane that is, but again, we're just trying to offer free shelter to our homeless population. No bad blood in there. Okay, and now I'm a bit sad that Gaga is gone already, because I do think... Yeah, the homeless, there is also a few other cases where people were talking about in the TDW Discord and why it's hard to actually exclusively target the corrupted sims, because there is a problem for tourism, for example. While people are in transit, I believe they get counted by the game kinda weird, and there is a weird way of the game counting people when they're leaving the city, and some weird edge cases like that, which makes it somewhat difficult for the mod to target those, from my understanding. So it does seem like something difficult to fix. With any issues like that, unless my save is really struggling, I will just avoid those mods till I feel like my save is dying and I have to find a solution, and then I'm willing to try, but otherwise I try to avoid it. And now comes what I told you guys. We are gonna actually use line tool, and I know I'm always hating on line tool, and I will keep doing so. But for what we're doing here, I think line tool is really good. Because what we want to do is have many rocks on our trails, right? We want them to be a bit lower, something like this, I think. And this would be really tedious, and I don't think I can make this cleaner than a clean line tool setup with variation. And it's very easy. You just up the spacing till you are happy. Hold on, not the spacing, the offset. Till you are happy with the width of it. And then obviously we want to lower these immensely, so we actually get a lot more rocks. But now you see we roughly have the width of our track, right? And we actually, through adjusting these offsets, we can get these to look very organic and wild. We want to play around with these values a bit till we find something you're perfectly happy with. And a big tip is, many people don't know this, if you hold control, you can lower for only 0.1. If you don't hold control, it's always a meter, doesn't give you that much control. If you press control, you lower for 0.1, so you get a lot more control. And then once you have a setting you're happy with, you can literally place a quadrillion of rocks very quickly and easily. And I know I hate line tool. I always say don't use line tool. Line tool looks horrible. And I agree with myself in that regard. I think line tool is horrible for most things. I cannot do this better. Even if I hand place this will not look any better than what we're doing here. So this is one of the few edge cases where I actually like line tool and consider it a big time saver compared to what I would do. And the result is just as good as what I could do by hand. How big is your city, Damir? I'm curious. How big is your population? Because my cities are all also very slow, and I generally try to ignore the simulation as much as I can. Because I think it's the weakest part of the game. So I don't have as much issues, especially in Los Vagos, because I am such a slow and small city. For some things, I just mainly hate it for vegetation. I think vegetation will never look as organic and smooth if you use line tool. I like it for bollards, and I like it for some rocks. Even for rocks, I generally don't like it. Unless for the rocks in the rails there, I think it's really nice. I mean, you say only 800. I don't think with my computer is an 800 euro self-built rig that's 2 years old or something by now. I don't think I can reach a population like that while getting acceptable sim speed still. That is a bit too much for my rig. I think I can play somewhat smooth up to like 350k, and then once I reach roughly 350k, it gets so much slower for me that it is quite hard to accept. Here we need to adjust this value slightly to fit this single rail a bit better, and then we do the same here as well. Just so if Dava tunes in or Canadian tunes in, we can show off our trains and they don't look horrible, because while I am not the biggest train head, I know some of my viewers are. So I don't want to disappoint people and also give our rain line some love. Yeah, man, no worries. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always nice to see you here, and enjoy your evening with the miss. I should find somebody to raid in a while from now as well, but I do want to finish up this area a bit more. But I mean, Dava is actually surprisingly, because Dava is not talking much, and I guess is generally lurking mostly in my channel. But I think Dava is always in the top 3 people of view time in my channel. So he is in here quite frequently. But yeah, maybe to get the serve from lurking, I do have to actually work on my rail more to get him to interact even more. Because yeah, if there is one thing Dava gets excited about, it definitely is rails you're onto something. Here I'm gonna try to blend this a bit, because these net lanes, I think the blending actually is alright, but the issue we have is a bit that they change their orientation, because they're on the same draw layer, so every time the game loads, these can change whichever one runs on top, so we need to blend them in a way where no matter which order he loads them on or loads them in on, we still have a somewhat smooth transition. So I love that song. So I'm actually very pro your music choice in that clip then. I've been in holidays lately, so I've not seen much Cities YouTube content, but I'm sure now I have a bit more time again and I'm catching up, I'll stumble across it. Yeah, I guess what we mainly have to do is start with actual prop work. Actually, I found a solution for these horrible floating wheels, and I just put this word pillar up next to them to have something they actually belong to. And with that, it's somewhat acceptable. The meshes, sadly, of this thing are still entirely broken. I'm not sure what Colossal Order did there, but nothing we can fix about that. But we still need a solution for this, because this mesh also has this weird flying thing back here. And I am not yet sure how I can hide this elegantly. I need a way to find something to hide this elegantly. Probably we'll just end up putting a pile here or rock it up, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh, also this I'm kind of proud of, because I looked at the vehicles and we really only have this dump truck, and I would like some more vehicle variation in our mind and just spamming this one everywhere. So one alternative we're gonna use, because we're in Los Vagos and we're rednecks, so perfectly fine to use a tractor everywhere, is this. But then the other one I'm actually quite excited about is this. Because if we just use a truck with a flat trailer and then place 2 of those open containers on top, that actually is a pretty good rock and sand transport, and obviously we can fill these up with something later. So I'm quite happy, because that gives us a bit more vehicle variation, because I don't like I don't like the intended very big industrial ones actually here. This one, in real life, yes, they're cool. The one in game, I don't like it. And then this is just horrible. I know this is somewhat realistic, especially in incredibly big minds in real life. But I don't like it. It's just out of scale. It seems weird. It seems too big. Even if it's realistic, in game I don't think this looks good, so I don't want to use either of these. So we're looking for more vehicle variation we're actually happy with and we can use, and I do think this helps us a bit. And thanks, I'm actually surprised. I said this many times on stream, I did not think I could listen to my normal old school rap as much on stream as I can, but people always seem to be pretty happy with my playlist, which I mean, I'm sure is confirmation bias, and people who don't like my music just don't say anything about it. But every once in a while, people say they enjoy the music in here. And yeah, your building perfectly fits for that, though I'm actually not sure. Because again, I have not really figured the layout of this weird abandoned mine thing we want to build here later. I don't really want this upper part to be much in use anymore. So I'm not sure if we actually use trucks here. Because yes, while it's made for that, and I do want the look of that as well, I actually think I kinda want most of this to be abandoned. Maybe have like 1 or 2 still functioning buildings, but I want this to be a dying town. That sounds harsh, but I want the mine to actually be abandoned. And then the town around it, I want to be currently dying, right? It's still holding on to its life because it's been a gold rush, gold digger mining town and has been rich and successful in the past. But then especially the upper center area here, I want to be very dead and died out. This area down here, I think we can keep it a bit more alive because it's so close to still existing working industry that this has enough justification to get some life still. But then the further area up here, I don't really want to be working anymore. I see. I can tell one thing, and is you seem to have a very good taste in music, Damir. I like what I'm reading. Oh, actually, here we have to fix something, because this placement, I noticed that before, this is not placed properly. I love this thing, because I think it's such a cool way for us to combine these buildings and give them a bit more grouping, but we have to turn it a bit further to fit it over the road more cleanly. Then move it into that building properly, and then we have to look at the other side in a moment. Because I think it can just go on top of the building. I don't have to fit it in there perfectly. This is a bit of a beauty mistake, but I can live with it, to be honest, that we see it inside of it. Like this, I want to see if the cars on this line collide with it, or if they fit through it fine now. Barely. Small fit. Well, I mean, I would like to shut up more sometimes while streaming and just space out and be detailing building, but then I think especially if people tune in and you're not talking, then it's pretty likely that they immediately tune out again. So I feel like it's mandatory for me to be a bit annoying and keep talking the entire time. Actually, maybe I should steal that tag, because I see the appeal of that. That does seem pretty appropriate, to be honest, Damir. I guess that definitely is a tag I should steal. Hiya, welcome in Obelix. Nice to see you here. Question is what we fill all of these with. Well, I know. My love language is bullying, so never feel bad about bullying me. I surely take it the right way. My cute girlfriend bullies me all day, every day, so I'm very used to it anyways. And actually, Metzger and Obelix are probably the two people who are the most up to date with this, because both of you are the biggest Hall of Fame farmers. Have you guys seen that the City Collective is already down again? That was a very short interaction of it we had. Is it my Wi-Fi right now? Maybe it's my internet. I think it should be fine. I think it's actually my computer lagging, because I had some very bad frame drops. It's why I zoomed out and looked at all of my city, because usually it gets more stable if I zoom out and zoom back in, because it seems to load things in that it didn't have before, and then I gained some stability also here. We have a nice flying building, which I guess is not optimal. We have to fix up the terrain here. Oh, see, I didn't even notice that. I was in holidays for the last 2 weeks pretty much, so I didn't even see that it went down the first time. I just seen because Morgan said that he has to remove the integration of City Collective because it's having issues, so I checked. Oh, your wife. I'm so silly. I actually read Wi-Fi, and while I would like it to be true, she is sadly not my wife yet. Maybe one day, but still a bit early for that. I mean, if you could do that, that's amazing. I mean, I was a bit disappointed in Cities Collective, to be honest, because I think it's a great project, but then Daniel launched it and pretty much immediately was so busy that he kinda already, when it launched, did not have time for it, so I could never even fit a cover picture. Like, I uploaded Los Vagos and was happy to upload Los Vagos to Cities Collective. But then I couldn't add a thumbnail for it, and I asked him about it, and his response was pretty much, shit happens, I don't have time to fix it. So let's say that was not the most motivating response for me to get reeled into a project. Because I do get lack of time and like not being able to immediately jump in and work on it. But when you freshly launch something, at least I think you should have some time at the beginning for it. Maybe this is already becoming too cute with me putting actual planters here, because keep in mind this is a shitty mining area. Yes, I want this to be our main bus station here when we bring public transport in, but I do want this to not look horrible, but this is a shitty industry area, so we have to make sure that it's not turning too cute. I mean, that would be amazing, and also something I've been looking forward to, because you do have the right skill set to become active in the modding community in this game. And there are so many things that it would be amazing to have still that more modders never hurt. And I mean, for you, that would be a great entry into modding, I guess, taking something over that already has a base. Because yeah, I think Morgan probably shouldn't take up more. Because I love Hall of Fame, but he already seems to have little time for Hall of Fame, so I guess he's the wrong person to take on even more different duties. I mean, I also should start showing Hall of Fame on stream more, because I would love to get more people into using Hall of Fame. The issue is that my game usually takes a moment after loading in to run stable, so I generally like to be in the game already when I start streaming to not encounter any issues afterwards. So I'm not really in the main menu where I could look at Hall of Fame unless I'm crashing, but... Oh well, look who's back. That has been quick 3 blocks as usual. Welcome back, mister. Nice to have you here as always. And yeah, we're actually not placing rocks for once. I know, hard to believe, but sometimes that happens when we actually play the game. Rarely, I know, very rarely, but sometimes it can happen. And I totally don't just place random industrial props that I see and I'm like, oh, we could place this in these areas. Surely I have a proper plan and do this very mindfully and sensible. Really? Why you hear me very low? That my sound should be just like it been before. Maybe my mic was a tad too far away. But happy about any audio feedback if it's not optimal, and I can look into it. And yeah, take your time, Obelix, but yeah, it would be really cool to see you take over Cities Collective for sure. Oh, okay. That's nice to hear, because audio problems are always a bit annoying, because can't really listen to yourself. So gotta go off what people tell you. I'm happy if it's fine. Actually, these I like actually stacking. Yeah, okay, I was confused because you didn't say anything earlier and my audio must have been pretty much unchanged from earlier. So I was wondering how that happened, but I'm glad it's fine. Okay, actually that looks cute, but I hate all of these vanilla colors. Why does everything in the game have to be so goddamn bright and saturated? Please stop it. Same goes for all of the decal creators beside Elgando. Please desaturate your decals. Please take some contrast out of them. Everything in this game is too bright. The game shaders make everything really vibrant and powerful, and you should account for that, making decals and lower them. And actually with this I always forget how they are called. Road... main... Why are they not called like this? And why are they not... They are called like this. Why are they not in the industry tab of the props I will never understand, because these are really nice props, these three. Road maintenance vehicle props, highly recommend these. They're amazing as some filler props for industry, but they don't show up in the industry tab, so they are very much overlooked. For myself including, I also always forget about those, cause they're not in the industry tab. But then I do think they are really nice and interesting, so highly recommend this as a prop, road maintenance prop. Even if they don't saturate, like my game is at vanilla, and even in my game, most of the decals are too bright, I would argue. So I think just generally the game shaders are too vibrant and need desaturation. Actually, that one is a tad too small. This bigger one is a bit better. We'll fit that in the middle, and then I guess we can put some more small props next to it. And maybe to add a little more variation, we can put the next one somewhere here. Honestly, I hate all of the vanilla colors of anything I plop down. Feels like you have to always recolor things for them to not look clowny in this game. Which I guess I should really get settled with a palette tool and use a palette and just put some nice pastel colors I want to reuse myself, but I've never really dived into the palette tool properly, to be honest. And actually seeing that I'm streaming for 2.5 hours and have not taken a break yet, and there is an ad break in a minute, I will try to find a park ranger or police vehicle really quick and send you guys on a little road trip while I grab something to drink and head to the toilet really quick, and I should be back in like 5 minutes roughly. But right in time before the ad break starts, found a vehicle, adjusted the sim speed, so I will be right back in roughly 5 minutes, and hope you guys are gonna have a nice road trip while I'm AFK for a moment. So with that, be right back, cuties. Alright, I'm back. And I'm glad, at least lately, the road trips actually all work out. Sometimes if I'm too slow and you guys are in a police vehicle, you guys can get stuck in the police station, which is a bit awkward, but our city has been growing so much that they actually generally have to make quite a bit distance, so it's buying me some nice time. And wholeheartedly, I get happy every time I see our city in first person. Because really, in first person, this is quite nice by now. I also see many things that aren't nice and I want to fix, like these rocks in the road. What the heck is that? But some parts also look very beautiful. But yeah, there also is quite a few areas we're driving through where I see 1,000 things still missing or that we have to revisit and fix. So it's sometimes nice, sometimes painful to be in here in first person. Let's see if we can find those rocks back that we just drove over. We drove in somewhere here. And somewhere here should be 2 rocks in the road. In this road, actually. Wrong road, that's on me. We drove past this. Did we drive into this road? It must have been somewhere here. We drove past this sign. Up to here. Maybe this is actually like Obelix has been telling us in the past, that sometimes you see elements in the first person camera that you don't see later on. Because yeah, those 2 rocks we've driven over must have been somewhere in this area, but I cannot seem to see them anywhere. I am in confusion. Really, they must be somewhere here. I mean, Elgendo, I would also prefer if they'd be driving in the right side, but I figured that I have left-hand traffic set on accident after building in this save for 2 months or something. God damn it, I thought we would crash there for a moment. I can't really revert that anymore. I guess so, but then I have to replace every single road and it's gonna break so many decals. By now I accepted it as part as the Los Vagos lore and I don't mind it so much anymore. And I don't know why, I've been saying this a lot of times, in this area of the map we have a lot of FPS stutter for some reason. And I don't know why, because there is many areas in the map that should be worse for performance than this area. And I don't know why this area is struggling so much. Maybe I need to install the corrupted node detector from Yang again and see if I might have on accident created a broken node somewhere in this area, getting me to lag. Else I don't really know what the... Yeah, but hold on. I don't have weird FPS drops in this area. And if there is an area I should have FPS drops on due to too many rocks and boulders, it's this. Here, my computer should be dying and struggling, right? It doesn't though. Yes, it does if I zoom up close onto this. Now my FPS just dropped down to 15. Because the small rocks are poison. But unless I do that, I'm perfectly fine in this entire area without any issues. This area, meanwhile, I get really big stutters. I don't know what's going on. Yes, we also have a lot of rocks here, but a lot less than in the other area. So I don't think the rocks are the culprit here. I can send you save game, but it depends if you want a proper save game. because I use a local version of the UK pack and such weird things that you would have to do, I will have to send you roughly 10 gigabytes of things to add to your game if you want the save to properly work. If you don't care about my local mods and my write everywhere things, then yeah, I can just send you the cock. That sounds so weird. I don't know what Paradox thought putting cock as file ending is an appropriate idea. Because, I mean, I guess probably some colossal order programmer sitting there giggling at home every time somebody says, I'm gonna send you the cock, so I guess well played on them after all. Yeah, it should work with a billion of white boxes. That's why I ask you if you care about the save working properly, because if you don't mind all of the white boxes, then it's very easy to share my save. What kind of file extension is that even? Is that an exclusive file type to our cute game? Or, I mean, honestly, if I'd be a programmer for a big company and I could name a file, then I guess cock would be very high on my favorite list. So the more I think about it, the more I actually have to compliment Colossal Order for that file extension, because it does seem hilarious, not gonna lie. I think really this is the amount of detailed work we have to do. The bad news is I want to do this everywhere and at the same amount of detail. Doesn't have to be much more than this, to be honest. This is a nice amount of scatter. I don't want this to be super unorganized, but I do want this to clearly be used and have some traffic, so it's gonna take us a while to actually go over all of this. Yep, obviously, that as always, Elgando, nobody more intelligent than you. That is the perfect explanation, and I'm sure that's exactly what happened. In German, there is a very nice saying that I don't really know how to translate properly, but I guess it kinda even works in English. And what people like to say is, my name is Hans, and the D in Hans stands for dangerous, which I guess is very German humor, so probably funny to nobody but my two German viewers. But since I'm German myself and have a very silly humor, I find it hilarious. Sue me if you want to. And I don't know who told this to me. I think Metzger actually told this to me, that the raising and the lowering of things not working all the time is related to the snapping options. I had no clue, and I was getting crazy every time that happened, not understanding why the behavior is suddenly different. So I'm very thankful to, I believe, Metzger that taught me what is happening so I can avoid it. That was you, wasn't it? I don't want to miscredit here, but I do think that was you telling me that it's related to the snapping. Which, it's not always. I think the reason I didn't realize that being the case is that sometimes, even with snapping on, you can still lower and raise it, and I don't understand why. But it is the case. But yeah, generally you are totally right, and the snapping makes the behavior different. Maybe we even want one of these. I love this mesh. I don't know why I've not used this 1,000 times already, because when I found this, it's such a good space filler to bring some reasoning for traffic in back areas, because I would like this and this to actually see some industrial traffic, so we have a reason to properly prop this out and put a few vehicles and people back here as well. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, highly recommended. It's the industrial manufacturing of the agriculture. Really, really nice asset. But yeah, one of the things I'm really missing in this game is more industrial props. It does feel so generic with the props we have. Many of them are so similar to each other that it's a bit difficult giving each of the industry an actual proper own atmosphere. Oh, we have another mid-air jogger for some reason. This is the same guy we always see running here. He ran here yesterday already. I should have checked the name, but he looked exactly the same. He also had that douche haircut and orange hair. I mean, he's a ginger, and people say gingers have no soul, so maybe he's just a witch and it's fine for him to run mid-air. But I think it's the same guy who already ran here yesterday. Test a door in what? In this one? I believe you meant this. I don't think your door sizes are gonna fit for that, because these doors look very big, but let's see. Actually, this looks fitting perfectly. I take everything back. You nailed it, as you always nail everything. That door fits perfectly. This door, obviously, it's a double door, so you don't have anything fitting to that. But the actual door, I guess, is a tad too wide, because you can't avoid the bleeding entirely, or can we? Let's see if we move this very, very little to get rid of the bleeding in this side. I'm sure we have the bleeding in the other side now, though. Yeah, so nearly perfect, but unavoidable to get some slight bleeding. I guess we could just get it to bleed in both sides, so it's uniform at least. I mean, I guess this is the most appropriate, then it's perfect. Honestly, like this, I think it's pretty flawless. It looks a bit weird with the stretch pixels in the side, but not too bad, honestly. I'm gonna leave that door for now. Maybe we'll remove it later, but I don't dislike it. But yeah, honestly, we have too little industrial props. I feel like why am I placing barrels here? Barrels don't really belong here or fit here, but do I have other many good alternatives to give the right vibe? I sadly don't. So I will play some more barrels, I guess. And usually for situations like this, Jay is always coming in clutch and whipping out some nice new things. But since we can really only work with the meshes we already have in game and reorder them and combine them with each other, can't really make much new industrial props. Oh, we have so many of the open containers here already. It's actually too boring to just keep doing that. I guess some random metal stack it is. Up in the actual industry area, I think here I managed quite well to use the props very specific to the area we're in and actually fit it very well to create its own vibe. Compared from this to this, we use a very different prop selection. The problem is our area is so big that I have too little props if I only stay true to what actually would belong here. So no way around it. We do have to mix them a bit unlogically and wild here. Like what? And if you already done that, why have you not already sent me that? I'm like not only a booty addict, but I'm also an absolute asset addict for this game. So if you ever make anything that is cool, you have to also open your Discord and shoot a DM to booty addict and send it to him. Because yeah, I agree. What definitely would be nice, and I even told Jay that in the past, would be some different sorted collections of the industrial props we have, but it's still only different ordered stuff that we already have. It's not really creating something new, sadly. I mean, I guess we don't even need much. Like, this side already is somewhat fine. If we go in there with vehicles and people as well, then I'm already quite satisfied with that. Want a bit here on the front and the sides as well to add some more variation. Actually, what I always forget about, what would be really nice here as well, is the tires. The dome tires are also a really nice industrial prop, and specifically we are looking for the tire stack. Did I miss it? Pile of tires here, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. These I should ask Dome for that, because they are amazing. They never got shared. I just have these because I wanted to make some piles of the tires that Dome made, and I just messaged him if it's okay if I take his mesh and I adjust it and make a pile of it, and he immediately responded with sending me the piles he already made for himself that I don't think ever got publicly released. I think he only released the tires itself, but not the piles. And to build those piles in game is really time consuming, so not the best. And I guess I went a bit overboard in amount of tires here, but it's fine. This does look like it has a double gate, so we can make this the mechanic and industry building of the area. In fact, I do think that's pretty nice, because that enables us to also maybe use a car lift. Actually, in the back here, that would be very nice to give this some more identity. Because then, yeah, we can turn this into a bit of a mechanic building and line up some vehicles here, so this has its own identity. Maybe even add a pedestal somewhere here in the front, but then I don't really want to block any of that space, and I do want to keep that truck there because I like it, though we have to order it a bit better than it is right now, because this looks horrible. There we go, that looks a lot less horrible already. This we like. I guess it's a bit too much, all in the same color. We're gonna give this something different. That's a lot nicer already. And I definitely want to go in. Maybe any of you has a nice idea. Because I do want to brand this. I want this to be one company. Everything on this side we've been working on pretty much. And I want this to have a good mining corporation name. I don't have a good pop cultural idea of a very nice movie with a popular mining corporation, I've been thinking about Soylent Corporation, for example, though it's missing the mark a little. Maybe one of you has a great idea for a mining corporation, and great idea for a quarry corporation. And then as a last idea, but here is already pretty obvious that this is gonna be the Los Vagos gold diggers, obviously, because this is supposed to be a gold mine, and if Los Vagos gold diggers is not the appropriate name for that, then I don't know what is. A bit cheap, but we're gonna place that one twice and then fit the other one next to it, full with props instead. Again, today I could complain about it every 5 minutes because we have too little industrial props. Like this is a misery. How do I make this unique and interesting if I have so little variation? I guess we're gonna be cheap and just fill this up with wood piles on the right side. These I at least like, because you can get some heat variation in them if you stack them on top of each other, so they do become quite a bit more interesting than if you just have a normal flat prop there. Something like this, honestly, good enough. Only thing, as always, we hate the colors. Actually, maybe we should make these similar beige to how all of our buildings look. Not all of them, I don't want to be too uniform, but those two at least look quite nice. And I do think, while wanting to stay industrial, I do think we also need more plant clusters in here, especially in these bigger open spaces, like here. Or here, for example. I do think we have to do some more of these things, where we get some plant islands in to break up the terrain a bit. And make it a bit less just open wild space. Why is this still... Is it still flying? It's actually not flying, it just looks like it because the bottom of the mesh is so dark here. Okay, I was gonna say, we just fixed that earlier, it's still flying, but it isn't. Yeah, I think what helps me the most to figure the rest of the spacing here is if we put in some of these plant islands first to split those areas up a bit. So I'm gonna just go ahead in different areas and start with just this single one to just mark out the areas. We can go in a moment later and actually prop those up a bit more appropriate. Here, I guess even here we should have something, not right there because we want access, but maybe here next to it. Looks weird for now because it's so bare and just the same plant, but if we add some rocks and other plants to it, that's gonna be fine. And in this area I'd also like to do it, but here I'm actually so unsure of what exactly I want to do here. But again, these huge areas, I just have bad experience with leaving those too open without those becoming a bit bland, so I guess we place one already. can always revisit in future and fill up a bit more. And even here, though this one I do want very small, just something like that. There may be something here in the back to break up the area a bit more as well. Something like this, I think it's gonna become a bit more appropriate if we gonna add some boulders to it in a second. For it to get a bit more framing. Was that all, or did I miss? No, I guess that was all. Okay, boulder time, not upwards. We like the boulders to be weird and wild. That, and here, this is not really an island, but when we started the plants, you already might as well fill some rocks in to get this a bit more appropriate. I do think this is something, if I find some time the next days, that I'm probably gonna continue off stream a bit. Because I know this is not the most exciting to see me place plants and rocks all the time. But then we are in a mine and a quarry, so it's just part of what we have to place here a lot. And to be honest, compared to how this was looking yesterday, I do think this looks a lot nicer already than it did. Sure, slow progress, but progress. Maybe here, yeah, flat one, and then we're gonna go in and take some actual green vegetation to give this some more appropriate vibes. Might as well go over some of the areas we just cheaped out on before. Because really, already here, and it's missing a lot of bigger plants still, but already breaking up this space slightly, I do think will make this a lot easier to detail. And gives this some more interest. So actually here we forgot rocks. We're gonna go back there in a sec. This we have, this one we're missing as well. And might as well fill in a little here real quick. We are placing vegetation now. I mean, we're making progress. It's slow progress, but as you can see, we did some slow prop work as well. I'm just really starting to actually dig in this area and detail it out properly. We're still missing a second big run over with decals, with like stains and graffiti and everything. And we're missing a lot of sim placements and prop placement, but a slow and steady progress. Before I forget, I want to place a rock here as well, maybe even two of them. Well, I mean, while you say that, here you have your rocks, but I'm gonna disappoint you like I always do. And that is all the rock placement you'll get for now. I'm sure there's gonna be more rock placement in a moment, but I'm just trying to break up these wide open spaces a bit, because As much as I think these open spaces are realistic, I do think in this game they often feel too big and empty, and I think some light framing with weird vegetation islands like we're doing here, at least for me, really helps to get some more restrictions and shapes in this area to get it a bit more appropriate look-wise. So really just trying to split our terrain a little right now. I mean, I do think I like it, right? Like, for example, here I do want this to be an open space, because I do want to have space to bring vehicles through here and have a lot of proc work and everything. But then I think a small island or something like this to break it up, to have some orientation, at least for me, is very helpful. But I also do like limits in this game a lot. Like, I don't like gigantic, big and flat maps, because I feel like restain does help me in creativity in a weird way, where if I see something I have to build around, then I get a nice idea for a layout or for something I can work around it. But then if it's just open space, I feel a bit overwhelmed and get lost and don't know what I want to do. So really, constraint helps me a lot in this game. It's one of the reasons where I think Railway really shines. Because Railway kinda does the same for me. It gives me a bit of restriction in where I can build and kinda splits my areas in two. And yeah, have an absolute wonderful good night, Elgando. Nice to see you here as always. And thank you so much for your amazing doors that we've been happy about. And also thank you so much for this, because I do think if you very slightly desaturate this, then it's pretty much perfect for what I need in my glyphs. But no hurries with any of that, and thank you for tuning in and have a nice night, mate. Did I miss any of the islands? It feels like I missed one this time. Like, oh yeah, I did. I missed this one, and not just this time, even before I did. So we will go back here real quick and play some small ones. And then play some of these. I guess just a single one is fine. Really, that breaks up a lot already. And I do think probably here I want another one to break it up a bit, and then I'm quite happy. And I guess this we just fill out with vegetation as well to limit ourselves a bit further. In fact, I'm gonna keep doing both of that. And then honestly, I think the next time will be at a point where it's really just placing sims and vehicles and some last props in this area to really get this to be finished. Probably I say that, and we have to invest some more love in our walls as well. But I'm starting to be really happy with everything north of the railway. So the next time we're probably gonna really dive into this quarry area and start propping this up a bit appropriate as well. Which is interesting, because I don't really know what we're gonna do here yet. I would like to get the ground to look quite different from here. I want all of this to be sandy and orange. I'm probably gonna adjust this decal here with Photoshop a bit and fix the colors to be a bit closer to this net lane. And then I think this decal is gonna be an absolute godsend for us if we adjust it. And I do think this decal here as well, I will also adjust locally and swap it up a bit to be more fitting, and then I guess in some combination of our locally adjusted decals for those two, we will try to mainly work on this site. I don't know yet, as always, I never know what I'm doing, so we'll figure that together in the future. And how come, I just heard that earlier, the PC you're streaming from, Masa, is pretty much the best computer one person could imagine. Which I'm very happy for you, and you should have a great computer like that. But then you also said you have a second computer for cutting. What is going on in your house, and why do you have that many different incredibly powerful computers? Who did you sleep with, or when did you win the lottery is my question. Because really, your gaming rig seems like it would be absolutely amazing to be cutting videos on. And look at how much something small like this changes. Just having vegetation in the area here to separate this a bit is gonna make this so much easier to give this area here some nice atmosphere and detailing around it. Well, fair enough. That makes sense. Okay. I figured maybe your streaming computer is even more powerful and optimized, or your cutting computer, I mean, is even more powerful, and that's hard to imagine with the gaming rig you're on. Yeah, that does make sense. Most bigger streamers, I believe, are all on a dual setup. When I was wondering why everything is so slow, but it's because we're still playing on 50% simulation speed. That's on me. This area here is still not, I guess it's also because we don't properly have ground vegetation here in the cliff yet. But looking at this area now, where we're getting a bit more green in here, this is definitely not green enough. I don't want this to be very naturey or green, but just these little islands, these few trees, make this feel a lot more alive and in use. So I do think, sadly, staying with ground vegetation and propping up the entire side of this hill as well is gonna be needed. Okay, yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, because then cutting with your GPU seems like it's a no-brainer to do it on that computer. That's one of the reasons why I was confused when you said you're using a different computer to cut on, but I guess you just use it to record and capture on and then send it back to your actual PC rig. That's hilarious, actually. makes perfect sense if you put it this way, but also seems very complicated for the sake of getting the best result in there. And I'm curious, if you say you did some programming, what kind of programming do we do? Or do you do? And what does it take to bully you into start modding for this game? See, us adding some ground vegetation here is good as well, because we see many weird bushes pop up that we don't want. And if we go over them closely, we can get rid of most of them. Yeah, okay, if you're playing and recording in 4K in a game that's as unoptimized as Cities, that makes perfect sense. Because I'm always confused about how much power people need to play this game, because really my computer is shit and my experience is all but flawless, but it's very much acceptable, I guess. But I also play only full HD, so that is obviously way less demanding than playing in 2K or even in 4K, which honestly that seems absurd. Curious. And maybe that can change. That sounds promising. Like maybe we can get you to do that again, maybe. I guess there is not really any good documentation, though people in this game seem very helpful, especially for code-related things. The TDW Discord, I guess, is a great place to read in a little, and if you have any concrete questions, ask it there, because people there are very knowledgeable about the code side of the game and generally seem helpful. Especially if it's something that you would like to do, I'm sure people gladly help out. And here, actually, is this a rock? It is a rock. I thought for a moment it's a part of the building fitting out, but it's just a really bad sunken rock that we put out a bit so it looks a little less weird. And it's these last few meters and then we're actually done with the most annoying ground vegetation and have placed our pubes. Because the rest is generally a lot quicker. I mean, I actually have a mod wish that I would imagine to be incredibly simple to do for somebody who has some programming knowledge. And it's literally just hiding the cursor when you click a button. And it's a mod I would assume you would also profit off. Because when I made the only ever YouTube video, and I've been using this cinematic camera that I love the cinematic camera, I think it's really nice. But I don't understand at all is if you have this on, hide UI during playback, and you click the playback, your UI hides, but your cursor doesn't hide. So whenever you record a video, you have to move your cursor outside of the screen really quickly when you record. And after having noticed that, I see the cursor in so many different YouTube videos of CS2 creators that forgot to move their cursor or been too slow moving their cursor or something like that. That really, that would be an amazing mod to have, especially for anybody making video content for this game. And at least without much technical knowledge, I would assume that that should be really easy to do, because it's pretty much just hide cursor on click of this button. Yeah, see, you even have the same issue, so it would be a mod you would benefit of yourself. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I thought it surely must be me doing something wrong when trying to record, but then I asked in my Discord, and Sunny immediately was like, nope, that's just how it works, and that's really how you have to do it, and I just must have had a big oversight, which seems crazy. Because the rest of the cinematic camera, while it's laggy, the images you can do with it seem really nice, and I think it's great that they thought about including something like a cinematic camera in the game. Well, obviously you should see it. What I literally mean is if you're in this, your cursor should just hide and show together with the UI, right? So obviously now we see all of the UI and we see the cursor. The moment I click play and my UI disappears, my cursor should also disappear. And then obviously when the UI comes back, the cursor should also come back. Or as a save, if it's a very long scene and you don't want to wait that long, maybe show the cursor as well if somebody presses escape or something. But I don't know. I don't have my hopes up too much for this. Like from modder side, yes, I think it's totally likely that some nice modder will add this. Paradox or Colossal Order seem to be busy with so much more fundamental things in the game that I don't think this is anything they will care about. Because really, the cinematic camera is still usable. You can just move your cursor away really quick. It's just painful to use, but it's not really a giant problem outside of the pain it causes. Okay, nice. We actually have the two very annoying layers of vegetation done. Time for different vegetation, high octane gameplay today, but then after we're done with this, also no more need for much vegetation, so gonna get some freedom from it. And look at how big the difference is from how plain and bland this looked before. And already, even with just a small ground vegetation plant, it's getting a lot more interesting. But I do think this is also one of the last things, sadly, I can do for today, because looking at the clock, it is roughly an hour later than I imagined it to be. So I do desperately need to stop streaming soon. I mean, you say such a short time. I think we took a long time and been slow with everything. Just again, especially if I stream, I get sidetracked all of the time. But thank you. Nice that at least somebody thinks I'm not the slowest person in the Cities community. I mean, I am definitely still the slowest person in the Cities community in my head, but maybe I'm not the slowest builder at least. Here we actually pretty much did a good layer of all of that. So that was it already. I assume probably I will need to take some time later to fade this up on here a bit more, but for now that's not too important. So on to these two, and then one last very little layer of actual bigger trees. And then the hillside has a very nice base. I will wanna try around with some more Gaga surfaces on there for sure. definitely we want to bring some grass in there, but I also want to try out with some even more rocky and heavier surfaces. So get
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Heck yeah, welcome in Urban and Raiders. Thank you so much for the raid and nice to see you in here. What have you been streaming today? You are in for some very high octane gameplay. We've been placing many rocks and plants and making very slow and steady progress on our mining area, but yeah, it's very slow progress, so taking a while. Are you excited for the new Transport Fever? Because the only reason I know about Transport Fever at all is because people seem to be pretty excited about the Transport Fever 3 trailer. So I assume if you're liking Transport Fever 2, that's also something that's very exciting for you. Sadly, I think it's not gonna be what really makes people happy, at least that love cities so much, but any competition is good to have. But hope you had a nice stream in Transport Fever then, and thank you so much for the raid, mate. Maybe you already ran off to get to bed or grab something to eat, because I know you're also German, so I assume you were also shortly before having to hit the bed yourself. In fact, I'm not very in touch with the German community of either Cities or any simulation game, because I have my Twitch set to only show me English streams, which I guess I should really adjust, because there is some very nice German streamers as well. Again, with these, I want very few actual trees in here. So this is gonna be really few and sporadic ones. It's mainly for the reason I said earlier, that if you zoom out, many of the smaller plants entirely disappear due to their bad long distance models. So having some bigger vegetation is not only adding variety to the look, but also make sure that even from the distance you keep the look of having vegetation in those areas. Honestly, this looks a lot better than it looked for a few minutes. Ah, that's very curious to hear actually. Yeah, I didn't know. Hey mate, nice to see you, and thank you for your raid. I guess you probably raided and immediately ran to the toilet or something. But yes, thank you so much, and hope you had a nice stream with Transport Fever. And I guess Masa kinda answered my questions, because I was wondering if you're excited for Transport Fever 3. But from all I can read, I'm sure you are. Yeah, that was my understanding, because I seen when the trailer came out that people were quite excited about it. But I believe there is not really a deep layer of actual city building and planning, because I believe the city building is pretty much aesthetic only in Transport Fever, and the rest of the game is mainly focused about the simulation, right? I am really unexperienced with other city builders. I barely played CS1 and I never really played any other city builder, so bear with my ignorance. And glad you had a nice stream. I guess we should also fence off the railway. The question is if we also fence off the single lane here. And I actually think we don't fence this up, because this is all in industrial area anyways. But then the main lane, I guess we should probably border with a fence here. Especially in areas like this, where we have a station right next to it. In fact, we should actually also really quickly, while we're at the station, get the station to be a bit more appropriate. Where's the vending machine? Oh, I'm blind as always. Every good station obviously needs a vending machine, especially since we're in the US and people are addicted to soda. So, vending machine right here. But yeah, my question, I know you can also build cities, but from my understanding, those cities don't really have any simulation behind it, but they are just, I guess, a nice eye catcher and eye candy, but not actual functioning. Because while I always shit on the simulation of CS2, and I don't think CS2 is a great game because of the simulation, in fact I think the simulation is the weakest part in the game, I do care about there being at least some underlying simulation to play around with. I can't type. Oh, actually, okay, I didn't know. I thought they are fully visual and don't really have any function. Then that is more interesting. Honestly, don't need much here. I think that already is enough. Maybe at another bench somewhere there, and then some trash cans. And then for this rural station here, that actually is enough already, I think. This one seems the very trashiest, so we're gonna take the trashiest one. Okay, that's curious, because then that is more simulation than I assumed that it actually has. I thought they are pretty much just visual, but then I do think that actually might be enough simulation for me, because really, I play this game pretty much as a city painter. I say that, and I think my city is very well balanced, and I have no issues with anything. But yes, not the part I care the most about. And how is modding looking in Transport Fever? Because especially in cities, modding is the part that really is reeling me into the game a lot more than it would otherwise. Okay, and in this area I do think to give some base detailing without just being incredibly boring, vehicles are what we're gonna have to start out with, because I do want there to be quite a lot of vehicle traffic, especially in this side. So we're gonna fill this up. With this truck, I have not decided yet if we think it's a box truck, because yeah, or a factory is too unfitting. We can replace it with one of these, but then I don't think it's super unfitting to have one or two normal trucks as well. Yeah, curious again. I have very little clue about other city builders. I already have little clue about cities, but anything outside of that, even less clue. So always great to hear some like actual interesting insight of people who know better. I mean, that, for example, obviously is gigantic. Being able to import custom meshes and things from Blender is so nice. I mean, I guess one day we will also be able to do that, but it seems like that's a long way away still. The question is a bit if we need more functional parking, but I don't think we do. I don't know what time of the day. Yeah, it's in the morning. In the morning they're never full. During the day, actually I'm gonna speed up a little. We have parking here that's functional, and we have parking here that's functional. But at least so far I've not seen any of them actually fill up completely. So I think maybe we work around it with unfunctional parking from now to give an illusion of this having more traffic than it actually gets. I mean, to be honest, even if Transport Fever is not gonna be my favorite game, I'm really happy about any competition for cities, because the more competition we have, the more Colossal Order is gonna get pressure to improve on the game, so win for us anyways. When is everybody arriving to work? I guess at 10 o'clock should be a good indicator to see our parking usage. Because yes, see, now it's getting darker or later in the day. Both this as well as these have been slowly filling up a bit further. The most important question for me in Transport Fever would be, do you have trains with graffiti on them driving through? With mods, of course. But if yes, that's a gigantic upside of Transport Fever over cities. I mean, this one, it doesn't even have to be full. Already this usage, I think, looks nice. So during the day, I'm quite happy, and this one also filled up a bit more still. I guess so. I'm still... Keep in mind, I started playing Cities like 11 months ago, I think by now. And by now I'm very invested and probably a power gamer of the game, but for the first few months that's not really been the case. So I still don't really know much about Colossal Order or the game or any development history, so I feel a bit hesitant judging too much in that area. And from the little I know, I say this all the time on stream, but a big part of this seems like they just got massively fucked over by Unity, which obviously to an extent their fault of not planning around their limitations better, but can't fully blame a small gaming studio getting fucked over by a gigantic engine like Unity. But again, this is without me being too informed on that topic, so take everything with a grain of salt. So interestingly, this parking lot is pretty much full. I do think we have one more spot here and one more spot here. This parking spot is also somewhat close to full usage. So we might actually consider adding some more functional custom parking here, because then we could make use of an invisible street through and actually see some more back alley traffic, which I generally think looks very nice. And who are these investors? I'm actually curious to hear, because I thought that there pretty much is no responsibility towards anybody from Colossal Order and Paradox, because Colossal Order already released their game to their publisher, and I guess the main pressure they have is something like releasing the sold content of the expansions because of Steam. But is there any outside investors on top of that? Here, I don't want to go too close to this, so we don't get nodes that are right close to each other. But something like this, if we bring it through, and then we can get one layer of parking on this side as well. Again, I'm not sure if our usage is gonna be good enough for this, so maybe we'll replace this with actual cars later and not custom parking, but I want to try, because if we can get proper movement in here, it's always nicer than just park props, really. Gonna start with just 3 of them and see if we can fill. Okay, that was really quick, so I guess 3 of them will probably fill up at least. I mean, I love that, really. It's one of the things where I still really want to revisit that, because that is doable in CS2 as well, right? Like, we can totally make trains with graffiti. It's just work, and I feel like I'm always short on time. So I've not gotten to that yet, but eventually I do really want trains with graffiti rolling through our city. Actually, this is gonna be curious. Our chopper is gonna take care of it. I hate the choppers. I would like to always have fire trucks. The issue with fire trucks is, especially in some builds like what we have here, we have a lot of terrain flatteners that function as building down here that can catch fire but don't have road access. So we need a chopper, else they will burn down and our build will break. But I hate it. It would be so much prettier to actually see normal fire cars roll out and prevent the fire instead. I mean, those 3 instantly filled up, so I'm actually gonna keep going here. And see if we can get usage on all of them, because if so, this is a really nice way of filling some space here. And excuse me coughing or my nose being a bit rough. I have been struggling a bit with allergies towards the end of summer. This I did not like. This seems like we have some weird connection from the past year. That truck that just drove through really dived into the ground. I want to see if somebody does us the favor driving through there again, please. Because I think we probably have to reconnect that. These blocks we also have to redo, because here the vehicles are definitely despawning too early. Ah, that looked fine. I should have played slower earlier, but that looked fine actually. I think it's alright, and really, looking on the clock, I also, as much as I'm happy for you raiding Urban, hope I can return the favor sometime soon, but I do also have to find somebody to raid. And desperately have to get in bed as quick as I can. I should have been in bed an hour ago. So I am gonna put the camera in some nice spot like here so we can admire what little we have done today. And I say that, obviously this area is not done yet, but I do think it's starting to actually be cute. If we imagine a lot of graffiti and some more proper prop and decal work, then I do think this area is gonna turn out really nice. Why was today wild? What was happening? My stream surely wasn't wild. My stream is always slow and boring. Is there somebody streaming that we appreciate and like raiding? Nobody playing Cities anymore. Nobody playing Cities anymore, that's unfortunate. I guess we are gonna raid Jedi then, who's the only one who's playing something somewhat related to Cities that I'm following. Not the best fit, and I generally prefer if I can raid within Cities, but I guess that's not a thing for today, so time for Jedi it is. And as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It is a pleasure to have you guys in my chat, and thank you so much for the raid, Urban. And I hope all of you are gonna have a wonderful good night and enjoy your time over at Jedi. Really, Jedi sometimes also plays Cities, not that much, but every once in a while he does, and I do think he's generally very entertaining and fun. And thanks so much, and never a problem, Tati. If you feel like talking, then I'm happy about it, but if you just feel like listening and lurking, that's perfectly fine too. Thanks for tuning in, and you cuties have an absolute wonderful night and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye, guys.